Yo! What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Breeding Pool. Yes, your favorite Oko casting, elk robbing land here. Now with the deck tech. But with a surprise banned and restricted update? Who would have thought? Wizards? No, like, seriously, if you guys haven't perused this at all, I looked through it a little bit before we jumped in here, and let me tell you, the hair is going up for this one. It's getting hot in here. We got to be ready for everything that this baby throws at us. It's spicy. It's delicious. So, everybody thought, man, random banned and restricted update? It's got to be Epiphany, right? Or a Seeker's Chariot? Bruh. It's not. It's not that at all. Sorry, everybody that hates Epiphany and Standard. I'm sorry. Basically, they said they've been carefully monitoring everything, the metagame's rotation. They've taken into account when Innistrad Crimson Vow is coming out, reviewing the metagame, including the World Championship, and because of the opposing release of Crimson Vow, they've decided not to make any changes at this time, and they'll consider changes to the environment, to standard environment, if necessary, after evaluating the Crimson Vow impact on the game. So, like I said, if you were hoping for a ban, well, it's banned for the Epiphany. It's not coming right now. I can see cause as to it getting banned, but personally, in my personal opinion, I think we've been a little ban crazy as of late, as of the past few years. I've been playing since original Innistrad, and the amount that the ban and restrict topic comes up now is just too frequent. But maybe that kind of plays into more of what's into this article a little bit, and the fact that Magic is becoming a digital game. Like, we not becoming, or I don't even know how to put it, right? Like, is it adapting? Is it changing the way it needs to be in order to foresee future longevity? I don't know. I don't hate the designers for looking at digital aspects of this game and going, hey, we need to be able to make changes faster and things of that nature, because of how much the playability is, how many games can be played on Arena at any given time. So that brings us to historic. Let's fire off the beep, 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 the lasers. Tybalt's Trickery banned. Good. Like, I don't know. I just, in a format that has answers to combos like this, that can easily, adapt, shift, and kind of roll with the punches, you know what I'm saying? Then it's something that could be left alive, maybe. But in a format that realistically you don't have a lot of answers to, it's annoying to play against. It's like, oh, here we go again. They're gonna exile this thing, they're gonna cast this thing, and oh, now they get an emergent ultimatum. Now they get Ulamog, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And I can totally see how everybody kind of hits the flavor there. And like, Tybalt's Trickery just in itself just feels like an odd card. For one, it's a red spell countering a spell, doing, it does it in a way red is normally used to doing it, but as far as just like rebuying things. But yeah, I like the ban. I think it's key. I don't see, in my perusement, I have not seen anything that states that it will give you wild cards for this ban, but that's the way it's been in the past. So hopefully that's the way it is now. Um, Memory lapse is suspended in historic. Good, another good thing. Like blue red decks have been so strong in historic for months, right? Since a little bit before Jumpstart Horizons or whatever it is, whatever the most latest Jumpstart came out. Blue red and Izzet was looking like the best thing to be doing at that time, and then it just got a shot in the dart with more cards that it can play. And Memory Lapse is one of the most, I don't want to say like powerful counter spells, but it's annoying, right? To take away one of the biggest parts in your turn sequence as a Magic player, and to just put back a card that you thought you were going to have on the battlefield or have an impact on the battlefield or the game the turn before, is a huge deal. Because we haven't really gotten into it too deeply, but the difference between turn 5 and turn 6 and 5 and 6 mana or 2 and 3 mana, there's variables there, but they're huge. They're huge variables. When you just go up one more mana or one more turn, which is essentially what a mana equates to, it just it changes a lot. And being forced to draw now what is slightly worse opportune moment to cast this spell, again, it just feels bad. Rainstorm is banned from historic, from suspended. Like, sorry, Wizards. I'm usually one to fight with you, be on your side. But why'd you print Brainstorm in historic? Like, seriously? Come on, man. Like, there's nothing else I can say. Like, it's Brainstorm. It's one of the strongest draw effects that we have in Magic. So strong, so strong that it's not able to be played in Modern, which is now getting too expensive for people to play in general. I remember when Modern was forming. You know, it was around the time that I got into the Magic scene, but you can't play Brainstorm in it, and there's a reason why. You know what I mean? It just gives too much consistency, too much deck manipulation, too much everything. Now, hold on to your seats. We're diving in. We diving in. 5 digital only cards that are being rebalanced. Rebalance. That's a huge word. So they're not being suspended. They're not being banned. They're being changed functionally to do something different or alter its ability. Davriel's Withering and Davriel's Soul Broker's third ability now only affect target creature an opponent controls. Sweet. That's a fast way to answer a combo that can lead in a draw. Like, it can just flat out go to a draw. That's a good thing. And we'll go into what's the impact that rebalancing has on a format. Faceless Agent, which is the 2 mana, 3 mana changeling that searches for anything for your main creature type in your deck. It conjures it. It got buffed from a 2/1 to a 2/2. Cool. Sarkhan, the dragon guy, his second ability, which is make conjure a Shivan dragon, is now a +1/2. Cool. It got buffed as well. I don't see how much that this is going to impact the format, or how much that the Faceless Agent's going to impact the format. I mean, it just makes it a more solid choice. But I think there's a lot of good 3-drops right now in any given tribal deck list. Subversive Acolyte now costs 1 and a black instead of black black. It is a 2/3 instead of a 2/2, and had the toughness increases from becoming human or Phyrexian reduced by 1. So this is the human something or other. It's a 2-mana 2/2. You pay 2 and 2 life to and then choose one. It becomes a cleric and gets +1/+3, or it becomes a Phyrexian and gets +3/+3 trample, and whenever it takes damage, you sacrifice that many permanents. So I don't know how impactful that's going to be. But this is a lot of changes. This is a lot of changes from, one stat boost, one additional point of toughness, change from black black to 1 black. That's huge. This is just so the flavor stays the same, I think. So it's just everything, so the points add up. So it's still a 3/4 when you turn it into a human, and it's still a 5/5 when you turn it into a Phyrexian. Effective tomorrow. So tomorrow, if you haven't known anything about this, which you probably didn't because we didn't expect there to be a ban and restricted update, which, let me go into that. Wizards, please, just be more open with what you're doing to the format, or formats. I don't understand why you guys have to play so close to the chest with these decisions and things like that. Maybe it's because of your history that you've been doing it internally, but you opened up the can of worms when you released a digital platform for this product that allowed your player base to swell and to become more transparent and more expecting of you. Now let's get into what rebalancing actually means. Again, they're functionally changing a card by changing some text on the card. They're changing how the card reads, what its stats are, or what have you. How big is that? We're introducing things like Legends of Runeterra and Hearthstone aspects into Magic. And I guess I'm still on the fence about it, but it's just, I can't see how something like this is not going to positively affect the format. Given Wizards' history of how they handle bans and changes and things like that, it's going to be abrupt. Hello, we're having a random ban and restricted update on a Tuesday. Dude, I don't know if there was supposed to be one. Am I confused? I don't know. Let me know. But yeah, it's going to be abrupt, so it's going to be jarring to some people, but it's going to be quicker and without the hesitant. They can do these things and manipulate these cards to make them more playable, give them some more reign, let the metagame evolve, let it change, let it adapt to these changes without printing whole new things into the format, without having to come up with an answer next set, which was always a problem. Oh, we just wait until next set, hopefully there'll be an answer to this broken combo or to this broken ability. And now they effectively can be like, well, I think if that damage spell dealt 4 damage instead of 3, it would change how. Just imagine if in standard, Cathartic Pyre dealt 4 damage all the time and still had its secondary ability. That card would be huge. It'd be way better than what it is now, because it kills things that it needs to answer. They can look at the format, adapt to it, change, and move. I don't think these particular changes are gonna completely warp the metagame, change how historic. Though I am so excited, oh my god, so excited to brew, with these changes as it pushes the Jeskai control deck down a little bit, makes this inherent busted ass combo go a little bit. Jumpstart Historic Horizons create a large amount of change in the historic metagame, and most of it looks very positive. But after watching initial reception, September's Historic Arena Open, and the response for a broader metagame, there are a couple adjustments we feel historic format needs. In addition to normal bans suspensions, the digital only cards in Jumpstart Historic Horizons gave us a chance to return to a balance tool we haven't used in Magic for many years: functional rebalancing for cards. More on that below. So they're going to go into their reasonings for it, which I kind of already gave you mine, so I'll just pipe in here and there. I can't remember the last time they used this, but I remember reading about it when I was starting Magic. Like they changed how they errated something completely, and I can't remember what card it was. Let me know in the comments below if you guys figure that out. Exactly what card that they functionally rebalanced. Bans and suspensions on the broader historic metagame up front. One of the biggest changes is the return of decks built around Tybalt's Trickery. Now using Throes of Chaos. Hello. Like, we didn't think this card was going to be bad, but anyways, I'm not going to go into that. Their decision-making process. They can't test everything. They can't, you know what I mean? They can't know exactly how things are going to work. But it's a cascade spell with Retrace for 4 mana that just hits your 2 mana spell when you only put that costs a lot. You know what I mean? It boosts the hit rate, makes it a lot more consistent, and it pushed it over some line that was drawn in the sand that Wizards decided to do. But good, it got banned. Inherently, not, I don't want to say it was like amazing. It wasn't amazing, but it's really bad to play against. It's bad, like sets of thought processes, lines that you have to take, things of that nature that really kind of get shut down by Tybalt's Trickery. It doesn't give you any play. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, okay, turn 4 that they get an emergent ultimatum. Cool. Woo. You know what I mean? And it doesn't give you a lot of wiggle. So I agree with that ban. In banners, we talked about the dominance of blue and red decks. So they've done past changes and they've done good work in addressing this. I don't think so, but just spending brainstorm didn't do enough. Looking at high level play in the Arena Open in particular, Memory Lapse emerged as nearly the must include in high performing blue decks. It was the most played non-land card in the Arena Open, as well as on the best of 3 ladder, and is one of the most played cards in the best of 1 as well. So, most played card in the Arena Open, most played card in best of 3 ladder, and one of the most played cards. It means it didn't hit the top. Most played card in the best of 1. See a problem with that? It's just constantly played. It's played everywhere. You just have to know if you see Island, there's probably going to be a Memory Lapse, and that's not fun. You want variance to your game. You want change. A lot of these things are more health related, and that's a good thing. They want Historic to be a great format, and I want Historic to be a great format. It's fun. It's reminiscent to how Modern started, the way they're starting Pioneer, even though they kind of let that to die. But that's neither here nor there. So the reason why they suspended it is they don't necessarily think it's completely horrible. So it's not a clear-cut case like Tybalt's Trickery and Brainstorm. Got banned. Like, it should have never been suspended. It should have just got banned. Like, it should have just took the bullet. You knew you were printing other cards into this format. Like, we're gonna talk about this for a long time. Okay, well, we'll go through it. Rebalance cards. In addition to the bans, especially we're rebalancing 5 cards with announcement. Digital only cards and digital only formats like Historic give us the ability to functionally rebalance cards simply and clearly. We can simply update the text digitally and the cards will remain accurate to their new function. Yeah. Functional rebalancing is how we're managing balances for our formats, and it merits a bit of explanation around what it does and doesn't mean. Going forward, we will be managing formats on MTG Arena in two different ways. Print formats, like standard, will continue to work exactly like they do in tabletop Magic. Okay. And for live formats, so you mean like digital format? I want to just say digital. So digital formats, like historic, we are adding live balancing alongside banning and suspension as a tool to address problems and make improvements to the format. So I had an inkling that this was eventually going to take place. We released digital only cards that can interact with the deck, can manipulate your deck, can manipulate your hand, can manipulate stats on cards, can do all of these things continuously. Something that you can never keep track of in a tabletop game of Magic. So with that, there has to be a quid pro quo, right? There has to be a way to address these cards too. And if historic is going to be the format that these cards live in, the whole format needs to abide by these rules, in my opinion. And with that, being able to address things faster is a good thing. It's a good thing for you, and it's a good thing for me. Because being able to come down on something that's obviously abhorrent to the metagame or overly impressive or just too good to be there, they can snipe, change it, don't have to remove the card, don't have to get rid of your wild cards, don't have to do all this stuff. Boom, boom, boom. You don't feel like you're getting anything taken from you, and bam, it's changed, it's interacted with, it's done, and they can do it in a simple downtime or simple update, hot fix, whatever, bam, 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 bam. And that's, like I said, a good thing, in my personal opinion. I think that them being able to interact with a format like that is huge, especially with the, like I said earlier, with Magic being Arena being played at thousands and thousands of games. We've seen Jean-Emmanuel Duprat have 26,000 games of Arena under his belt. 26,000 games. Just one person played 26,000 games. Now imagine if their whole player base played 26,000 games, and imagine the data sets that you get off of that. It's huge. It's gigantic. It's awe-inspiring how much you can see what card wins what and what way it wins that. You know what I mean? Like, just the different things that those data sets can bring you are huge. And that requires a faster, swifter update to banning or to changing the format. Print versions. We are very aware. So we are adding the live balancing upside. It's okay. We are very aware that there are many MTG Arena players who want the game to be authentic. Thank you. Representation of tabletop Magic or our print formats, and they will remain exactly that. Here, a card will always work the same way that the printed version of the card does, and the balance will be maintained in the same way it traditionally has been, through banning cards when they prove to be problematic. In addition to being authentic versions of tabletop Magic, MTG Arena is also a digital game. They have to make concessions there. Digital games often make a wider array of balancing tools, like live rebalancing, and for good reason. The increased play rates, data collection possible in digital games tends to magnify the impact of power imbalances, which makes it vulnerable to have more tools, valuable to have more tools to restore its balance. Yeah, exactly. Currently, we are restricting these changes to digital-only cards. Good way to test it out. Good way to get a feel for it. Where there will be no conflict between digital or printed version of the card. We would like to expand beyond this, for example, by rebalancing previously banned cards so they can safely return to play in digital formats. Shout out Elk Daddy. Yeah. Shout out Elk Daddy. There are multiple clarity and communication problems that we need to solve before we can consider those type of changes. communication means they need to be able to let everybody know what cards are being affected, how they're being affected. Way better than what these banned and restricted updates are. They random pop-ups on a Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day it is, afternoon, evening. What day is it today? It's freaking Wednesday. On a Wednesday evening, and bam, 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 it's done. Clarity, there has to be like how it's perceived throughout the whole of Magic, right? Like Joe Schmo that goes to F&M and plays Modern every Friday, but doesn't own a computer, has to know that his Oko is still banned in anything that he wants to do, except for if he fires up a computer and plays in Historic, if it gets changed and unbanned. And therein lies a big rub. How do you reach those players? And I think the best way to do so is if you play Magic in any type of traditional sense of tournament structure. Now you generally have the MTG companion app, so there is space there that they can get information out to players. Everybody that plays in a tournament Magic generally uses the companion app in paper form, as far as I know. And with that, there is something that they can reach out. They can send notifications that way. They already have it downloaded on their phone for most chances. I think it's a really good space for them to look into. Wizards, hire me. But so to solve before we can consider those type of changes, this is something we plan to work on in the coming month. And since bears repeating would only affect digital formats. Biggest themes are Magic, recognizing and embracing the many ways that Magic is played. On the tabletop side, we release new content focused on modern players, commander players, collectors, and other groups. And on MTG Arena, we recognize that we have traditional tabletop Magic fans and fans of digital games. With this shift, we aim to fully support both, continuing to deliver an authentic tabletop experience in formats like Standard and embracing new balance tools for digital-only formats like Historic. So Historic is going to be their pioneer digital-only format, right? Like they're pioneering, I should say, digital-only format. It's from what I gather here, they're using Historic as the way to jump things off, to start the boat, to get it rocking, to pop it off. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of cool. I am very, very much looking forward to how things shift. What this gives the power to Wizards to do. At the same coin, though, on the same turn of the coin, I'm like, Wizards, you haven't been too good at being transparent or open or communicable or anything with your player base. And to tie that back in to something that I said earlier is that I think it's based on a rudimentary internal structure that they've had since Magic started. Like, we got to make sure that these cards don't get busted. And if they get busted, we got to do something about them. So let's figure that out. We're the ones that design the game. We're the ones that take care of it. Well, now you have so many thousands of logs of people playing this game for continuous hours that there's somebody out there that plays more games than you guys. You know what I mean? And they have a better feel for what's going on and how things change. And I think just being open and communicable with your community is the best way to not necessarily take the ban. Oh, okay, you guys say we gotta ban it, and give that power to it, but listening and being responsive and being open and just sharing your information, everything like that, just so make things feel like you care about us and that things aren't coming from left field, you know? So how will rebalanced cards work? This will only card MTG Arena. We cleanly update all existing cards at once with the update on the 14th. It would be exactly if there's been a Oracle update that will affect any format that Historic can be played in. Much like with bans and suspensions, whenever we rebalance cards, we want to provide context, and that's why we're making those changes. Reed Smith, hey y'all, I'm Donald from the play design team. She's made a few appearances on the site talking about challenger decks and how Luminous Broodmoth came about, how powerful his Wily Goblin was. Was it Wily, Donald? Um, Apparently it wasn't. Behind the scenes, works on MTG Arena's Mirror Mirror event, and today he's here to give rationale behind the rebalanced cards. Like digital only designs, live balancing is a new tool to maximize the potential of our digital formats. The first set of changes is not meant to significantly impact the metagame, but to improve the latter experience. Cool. So they're not trying to shake up the metagame too much with the changes to the digital cards. It'll give us the chance to collect feedback and data on how the environment reacts. While we still ban and suspend cards, we also look for opportunities to improve the competitive metagame and to address other issues through live balancing. The 3 buffs are aimed at popular cards that have room to be stronger to better serve the decks and roles that they were designed for. The remaining 2 balance changes are not meant to reduce the playability of the card, but address an undesirable combo from Historic. So Davriel's Withering and Davriel's Soul Broker now goes from target creature and opponent controls, or goes from target creature to target creature and opponent controls. Cool. No more Vespel Arc draws. Sounds good. That's it. Faceless Agent going from a 2/1 to a 2/2. Don't know how huge that is, but I don't play tribal. We had a spicy standard deck for tomorrow, but I think we're gonna throw something up for Historic tomorrow, you guys. So be ready for that. Is a face an important card for tribal decks that don't currently have the density of cards legal in Historic to fill out the curve. This is a simple buff to improve the experience of players using the tribal decks. Cool. Sarkon's second ability is now a +1 from a +0. Sure. That makes it a little bit more viable of an option when you also want a neg2. Yeah, heal future neg2 abilities. And Subversive Acolyte coming from black. Like, that's huge. Black to 1 black. Like, you're fighting what? A vampire. Didn't change any of these texts except for the pluses here on the back end because they added a stat there, which is really cool. Subversive Acolyte, yeah, Gifted Aetherborn. There's the, yeah, there it is. What led up to that? What led up to the decisions to make these besides what you're saying here? Like, there's no more. Like, you give us all this stuff on how things will work and no real background, which has always been a problem with how Wizards does their ban and restricted updates. It's just there's no real like conversation there, right? There's like, this is what it is, this is what we're doing, which is fine. But in the same sense, like, we want to know deep seated information. Like, we want to know all this information. Like, we go out of our way to find these things. We go out of our way to comb through the specifics to make sure like what that edge is, to include that beacon bolt or that demon bolt in your deck, or that power word kill over the second blood chief's thirst. You know what I mean? Like, we do things like that to have those little 0.2% chances that this is going to be a better chime, and we breathe this stuff in. If you had a weekly spot where you just explain how things tend to be, what you guys are feeling, because we don't know. You know how we feel through Twitter, but you don't respond to us. But that's it. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. I'm very, 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 very excited to brew in some Historic We'll be doing that now. As soon as I get off of making this video, I'll be brewing something up that you guys can throw down and see how it works out tomorrow. So be sure to smack that sub button. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you get that notification for that video tomorrow. And comment. Tell me how you guys feel about this. What is your what is your thoughts? What is your feelings? What is your overall take? How are you on the digital format? How are you on the Magic's a digital format, Magic's a tabletop format. What is your what draws the line for you there? These are questions to ponder for years to come, probably. Now that this is set in stone in black and white, so there'll be kind of a division, I feel, between some people in Magic. Like there'll be your modern players and then your standard players, and that kind of sucks. But I understand. So please let me know. I love you guys. Thanks for always coming back and watching the content. You guys are dope. Stay safe.